You are listening to The Facts, the Fellas and Facts podcast with your hosts, Josh and EJ, starts right now.
Welcome back, everybody. This is the Fellas and Facts podcast where we have real conversations about real life. I'm your host, Josh, and yes, EJ is now taking a little bit of a break from this episode, but due to circumstances with work, God knows everybody understands when work calls, it has to pay the bills, you got to run. And he was called to business and could not record this week, but that's not going to stop him from coming on. I just want everybody to understand he's still part of it. We're still talking. We're still bringing out the ideas and making this show the very best to help you get through the day. Today, we are talking about something that I think every man has experienced, whether he's 16, 35, or hell, even 75, mental health. Now, before some of you already start thinking, oh man, here comes another episode telling me that they're broken, men are broken, relax. That's not what today is. I'm not here to tell you that masculinity is bad. I'm not here to tell you that men should cry every 5 minutes. I'm not here to tell you that everyone needs therapy. Today is all about something much simpler. It's about understanding. Why so many men, good men, strong men, successful men, hell, funny men, hardworking men are quietly hurting. And why so many people have never noticed until it's too late. Because here's something that shocked me. According to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, men account for nearly 80% of all suicide deaths in the United States, despite women being more likely to report depression and seek treatment. Think about that. Almost 4 out of 5 people who die by suicide are men. Let that sink in for a second. That's not because men are weaker. It's not because life is harder for men than women. It's because men suffer in silence, and silence can become deadly. Today isn't about politics. It's not about blaming society, blaming women, or it's not about blaming men either. It's about having an honest conversation, because if one person listens today, I'm finally going to talk to somebody, then this episode was worth making. Now, let me ask you something. When someone asks you, how are you? How many of us automatically answer, I'm good. I'm fine. I can't complain. You know what's funny? Half the time, we're absolutely bullshitting ourselves. Not because we want to, but because something along the way we learned that's what men are supposed to say. Imagine answering honestly. Honestly, I've been stressed out. I haven't been sleeping. Money's tight. My relationship is falling apart. I'm overwhelmed. Most guys would rather wrestle an alligator than say that. And I get it. Because I grew up hearing the same things most of you probably heard. Man up, quit crying, handle it, figure it out for yourself. Those things aren't always meant to be harmful, but sometimes they're meant to build resilience. But somewhere along the way, many men stop learning the difference between being resilient and pretending everything is okay. Those aren't the same thing. I also want to make clear, mental health isn't just depression. It's not anxiety, just anxiety. It's not just PTSD. Mental health is how you think, how you respond to stress, how you treat yourself. How do you process a failure? Have you recovered from disappointment? How you handle relationships? Do you sleep well at night? How do you work? How you love your family? It's everything. Your mental health isn't healthy. If your mental health isn't healthy, eventually everything else starts falling apart too. You know what amazes? We'll spend $3,000 fixing our truck. No questions asked. Transmission goes out, let's fix it. Need new tires, let's fix it. Oil change, absolutely. But if our own brain is struggling, suddenly we're cheap. Nah, I'll be all right. Really? You spend $4,000 fixing a pickup truck, but you won't spend 1 hour talking to somebody because you're afraid people might think you're weak. That doesn't make much sense when you say it. I remember hearing somebody say something years ago. They said, everybody you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about. That includes men, especially men. The guy joking around at work, the dad coaching Little League, that police officer you see on the corner, the firefighter, the CEO, the construction worker, the guy cutting your hair, the security guard standing outside your building, the soldier, the athlete, actors, comedians. Sometimes those are exactly the people hurting the most because they're experts at hiding them. Why men hide their pain? Let's talk about why. And I don't think it's just one reason. I think it's years, sometimes decades of conditioning. Little boys don't start life believing emotions weakness. They learn it. Think about this. A little girl falls down. People run over. Oh, sweetheart, are you okay? Little boy falls down. What happened? Get up. You're all right. Now, obviously, not every family is like that, but enough are that it becomes part of our culture. By the time many boys become men, they become professionals at suppressing emotion, not processing it, suppressing it. There's a difference because emotions don't disappear. They just change forms. Sadness becomes anger. Stress becomes drinking. Loneliness becomes isolation. Fear becomes aggression. Eventually, your body starts saying, if you don't deal with this, I will. That's when people start getting panic attacks, chest pains, insomnia, high blood pressure, burnout, and they wonder, where did this come from? It did not come from nowhere. It's been building for years. Here's another statistic for you. According to the American Psychological Association, men are significantly less likely than women to seek professional mental health care, even when experiencing similar symptoms. Now, why? Part of it is stigma. Sometimes it's pride, it's cost, or access. But I think another reason is men often think, I don't want to be a burden. How many times have you heard somebody say that? I don't want to bother anybody. I'll figure it out. I just want people worrying about me. I don't want people. So instead, they carry everything themselves until they can't. And here's something else I think men struggle with: identity. If I ask 10 men, who are you? Most wouldn't answer with who they are. They answer with what they do. Police officer, I'm a mechanic, I'm a supervisor, I'm a husband, a father. I work construction. Notice something? Very few men answer, I'm kind, I'm patient, I'm compassionate, I'm funny. We define ourselves by our responsibilities. So what happens when we lose that job? When that marriage ends? When we retire? When all the kids move out? Suddenly, we don't know who we are anymore. That's why retirement can be so difficult for some men. That's why unemployment hits some men incredibly hard. It's not just losing a paycheck, it's losing identity. Coming up after the break, we're going to talk about one of the biggest issues facing men today: loneliness. And trust me, the numbers are far worse than people realize. We'll be right back. Do you love looking in the mirror and saying, wow, my hair hasn't looked this good before? Majority of us guys feel like this each time we get a great haircut. Tired of not getting that same feeling? Well, I have the answer. Francisca, who operates Vancura Cuts, is the way to go. Stop going to those ordinary haircut chains that don't give you the same feeling of style and confidence. Let Fran hook you up. She's not that far from the suburbs, just right there in Joliet, Illinois. So follow her now on Instagram at Vancura Cuts, one word, that's VAQUERA, Cuts, and book your appointment now on Booksy. The loneliness men don't talk about. Welcome back. Before the break, we were talking about how many men learn to hide their emotions. Now, I want to talk about something connected to that silence. Loneliness. And I'm not the one just talking about being physically alone. You can be married and lonely. You can have children and still feel lonely. You can have 500 contacts in your phone, on social media, and nobody you feel comfortably calling. You can go to work every day, talk to the people all day, come home to a full house, and still feel like nobody really knows. That is a different kind of loneliness. A man may have friends he watches sports with, friends he talks about with work with, friends he jokes with, friends he goes out with. But does he have has someone he can tell, man, I'm scared. I don't think my marriage is worried about failing as a father. I lost my job and I don't know what I'm going to do. I've been depressed and I don't know how to get out of it. There is where the problem comes in. A lot of men have activity partners. They don't have emotional support. We can sit down for 4 hours watching football and never ask each other one serious fucking question. We know each other's favorite teams. We know what kind of car everybody drives. Who knows how to barbecue? Who needs to stay away from the grill? But we may not know that man sitting right next to us has been struggling to get out of bed every single morning. We may not know that he hasn't slept probably in months. We may not know that he cries in his car before walking into the house. That's real. And loneliness is not just an uncomfortable feeling. The U.S. Surgeon General has warned that poor social connection is associated with serious health risk. Social isolation and loneliness has been linked with higher risk of heart disease, stroke, depression, anxiety, and premature death. The health impact of lacking meaningful social connection has been compared with smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day. Now let's be clear. That does not mean being alone for one Saturday night is the same thing as smoking 15 cigarettes. It means chronic disconnection can seriously affect the body and mind over time. We are social beings. We need connection. And I know some men are listening and saying, I don't need anybody. Come on, brother. Yes, you do. You may not need 20 people. You may not need to be surrounded by the people every day. You may enjoy your own company once but there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. But every man needs something. Somebody who knows more than the public vision or the public version of him. Somebody who knows when his smile is fake. Somebody who can tell you I'm tired means more than needing a nap. Somebody who can say, you haven't been yourself lately. What's really going on? I think that kind of friendship can change a life. Sometimes it can save one. When friendships change, think back when you were younger. Making friends was easier. You went to school together. You played on the same sports team. You lived in the same neighborhood. You worked at the same part-time job. You could call somebody and say, what are you doing? And 5 minutes later, everybody was outside. Then adulthood happened. careers, marriage, children, bills, working long hours, people moved, people changed. Some friendships ended because of arguments. Others didn't end dramatically, or they just faded. One day you realize that a group of people you used to talk to every single day has become a group chat where someone sends a meme once every 3 months and everybody responds with the laughing. That is now the entire friendship. No conversation, no check-in, just a video of somebody falling off a ladder. And look, the video might be funny, but sometimes in the group chat, somebody in the group chat may be struggling. This is why maintaining adult friendships takes attention. You have to call. You have to make plans. You have to follow through. You have to be willing to say more than, we definitely need to get together soon. And because men have been saying the sentence for 10 years at some point, somebody has to choose a date. The difference between privacy and isolation, listen, I respect privacy. Every emotion does not need to become a social media post. Every bad day does not need to be announced. Every personal problem does not need to be discussed with everybody you know. But privacy and isolation are not the same thing. Privacy says, I'm careful about who I trust. Isolation says, I trust nobody, so I tell nobody anything. Privacy gives you boundaries. Isolation builds walls. And sometimes we build those walls because somebody used our vulnerability against us. Maybe you opened up in a relationship, and later your words were thrown back in your face. Maybe you told a friend something personal, and suddenly everybody knew. Maybe you were honest with somebody, and they laughed. That hurt. It teaches you to shut down. But that one bad experience does not mean every person is unsafe. It means you have to be wise about who gets access to the deeper parts of your life. Not everybody deserves the full story, but somebody trustworthy should know the truth. What depression can look like in men. Let's move on into this depression topic. When people picture depression, they often imagine someone looking sad, crying, and staying in bed all day. Depression can look like that, but not always. In men, emotional distress may show up irritability, anger, reckless behavior, substance misuse, abuse, trouble sleeping, loss of interest, withdrawal, or physical complaints. A man may not say, I feel depressed. He may say, everybody's getting on my nerves. I don't care anymore. Leave me alone. I'm just burned out. I need a drink. I haven't been sleeping. I don't feel like going anywhere. That might be stress. It might be temporary exhaustion. But if it continues, affects daily life, or becomes more severe, it may be time to speak with a medical or mental health professional. The National Institute of Mental Health notes that warning signs can include changes in mood, energy, appetite, sleep, concentration, interests, and usual activities, and the use of alcohol or drugs. It also notes that men are less likely than women to have received mental health treatment during their previous year. And this is important. Depression is not the same as having a bad day. You can have a terrible Monday and not be clinically depressed. Some Mondays are just disrespectful. Wake up late, coffee, traffic is backed up. You get to work and somebody says, we have a quick meeting? There is no such thing as a quick meeting. That is a bad day. Depression is deeper. It can affect how you think, sleep, eat, work, connect, and see your future. It may create a feeling that life always will be this way. That is one of depression's most dangerous lies. It tells you nothing will change. It tells you nobody cares. It tells you that you are a burden. It tells you to stay silent. Do not believe that voice. A feeling can be powerful without being permanent. Anger may be the surface emotion. Let's talk about anger. Some men are not comfortable expressing sadness, but they are very comfortable expressing anger. So sadness puts on an anger costume. Fear becomes anger. Embarrassment becomes grief becomes rejection becomes anger. Feeling powerless becomes anger. Then the people around him only see the reaction. They don't see what is the underneath it. They don't excuse disrespect, intimidation, violence, or abuse. Mental health struggles never give someone permission to harm another person. But if we want to change unhealthy behavior, we have to understand what drives it. Sometimes anger is the main emotion. Other times, is the security guard standing in front much more a painful emotion? A helpful question is, what am I actually feeling underneath this anger? Am I disappointed? Am I scared? Am I embarrassed? Do I feel rejected? Do I feel unappreciated? Do I feel like I've lost control? Naming the real emotion gives you better chance of responding instead of reacting. Because anger can make you do the same thing or make you do something in 30 seconds than it takes 30 years to it. We're going to talk about anxiety after a quick break, so stay tuned.
Style is a big deal for all of us, especially me. I like to look my best from head to toe. And speaking of toe, I know an incredible individual that her work speaks for itself. Margaret Ray, the owner and founder of Simplest Shoes in Dalton, Illinois, will have your footwear looking from drab to fab in no time. Her unique eye of color and detail is like art that will make your shoes shine, dazzle for days to come, making everyone you know ask where they could get a pair too. All you have to do is call Margaret at 708-953-0015 and discuss the many custom options and designs. Also, give her a like on Facebook at Simplest Shoes with a Z today.
Anxiety doesn't always look like panic. Now let's talk about anxiety. Anxiety can include panic attacks, but that's not the only form it takes. For some men, anxiety looks like constantly preparing for a disaster. You cannot relax because you're always thinking, what if I lose my job? What if I can't pay this bill? What if something happens to my children? What if this relationship ends? What if I make the wrong decision? Your body may be sitting on the couch, but your mind is running a full emergency management operation. Every possible disaster has its own. You have created evacuation plans for problems that have yet happened. Some planning is responsible. Constantly living in the worst case scenario is exhausting. NIMH estimates that anxiety disorders affect millions of American adults. Its published statistics indicate that anxiety disorders are reportedly more often among women, but they still have an effect in substantial percentage of men. Anxiety may cause a racing heart, tightness in your chest, stomach problems, sweating, trouble concentrating, difficulty sleeping, restlessness, irritability, avoiding situations, consistently seeking reassurance. Again, one symptom does not automatically mean you have anxiety disorder. A qualified professional should evaluate persistent or concerning symptoms, and chest pain or breathing difficulty should never automatically to be blamed on anxiety. Seek medical attention, especially when your symptoms are new, severe, or unexplained. The pressure to provide. One of the many sources of stress for men is the pressure to provide. Many men connect their self-worth to their ability to protect and provide for the people they love. That desire can be honorable, but there is nothing wrong with wanting to provide. The problem begins when a man believes, I cannot provide everything, I am nothing. A man gets laid off and he doesn't only think, well, I lost my job. He thinks, I failed myself and I failed my family. His hours get cut. He thinks, I'm less of a man. He sees somebody online with a bigger house, the newer car, the expensive vacation, and a perfect-looking family. Now he thinks he is behind. But social media is a highlight reel. You are comparing your full life to somebody who's edited footage. Let's be real here. Not everything on social media is what it seems to be on a camera. It's all edited with filters and fake footage. You don't know what that car payment looks like. You don't know what arguments happened before that family photo. You don't know how much debt paid for that vacation. You don't know what's happening when the camera turns off. Do not allow somebody else's presentation to become proof of your failure. Providing is more than money. It's time, persons, guidance, safety, consistency, encouragement, love. Yes, finances matter. Bills cannot be paid without positive affirmations. Trying to send the electric company a motivational quote and see how that goes. But money is not the only measure of a man's value. Your family may remember your presence long after they forgot what kind of car you drove. Our favorite topic of a man's life is relationships and heartbreak. Men's mental health is affected by relationships. Breakups hurt men too. Divorce hurts men too. Rejection, losing access to children hurts. Betrayal, feeling unwanted hurts. But many men don't talk about heartbreak. They act like they are fine. They go out, they drink, they immediately start another relationship. They bury themselves in work. Person posts a quote about loyalty with a picture of a lion. You know the quote, something like, a wolf never explains himself to sheep. Brother, you are hurting. Put the wolf down and call somebody. There's no shame in admitting that a relationship affected you. You built routines around that person. You imagined a future. You shared memories. Your nervous system became familiar with their presence. When that ends, it takes time to adjust. Healing does not happen because you pretend not to care. Healing happens when you accept reality and allow yourself to grieve and learn what you need to learn and rebuild your life without using somebody else to cover the wound. You may miss a person and still not know the relationship was unhealthy. You may love someone and still need boundaries. You may forgive someone and still decide that they no longer get access to you. Mental health sometimes means accepting the closure may not come from the person who hurt you. Sometimes closure is the decision. I may never understand everything that happened, but I'm not staying trapped here forever. I have been through this one way too many times that I can count, and that is grief. Another area where men often stay quiet. When a man loses his father, his mother, his spouse, child, sibling, friend, co-worker, or someone else important, people may expect him to stay strong for everybody else. He makes the arrangements, he carries the casket, he checks on the family, handles the phone calls, he solves problems. And then when everybody else goes home, the silence hits him. Being strong for others can be meaningful, but who is checking on the strong person? Grief does not follow a schedule. It comes in waves. It just doesn't show up the day of or the day before. It may come a month later, 6 months later, while they're driving to work or singing a tune that reminded them of that person. You could feel fine for 3 weeks and then hear a song, like I said, in the grocery store that completely changes your day. That does not mean you're going backward. It means you love someone. You do not get over every loss. Sometimes you learn to carry it differently. It's tough, but we're going into our commercial break. You're listening to The Fellas and Facts. This episode is about mental health and men's mental health. And conversations like this only grow when listeners help spread the word. Take a moment to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Leave a rating. Share this episode with a friend, a coworker, father, brother, son, cousin. You never know who may need to hear it. And remember to support the business that support us as an independent podcast. We'll be right back.
This is Josh, one of your hosts from the Fellas and Facts podcast. I just want to take the time to say thank you to our fellow listeners, our dedicated listeners who make this show possible. Without you, we cannot do the things that we do. We hope every single day, every single week, when you tune into our episode, you will benefit from it. Get a little bit of feedback, a little bit of help. That is our goal. That is our dream. So let's get to work.
When coping becomes escaping. Welcome back. We have talked about the loneliness, depression, anxiety, financial pressures, heartbreak, and grief. Now we need to talk about coping. Everybody copes with stress somehow. The question is whether your coping method helps you process the problem or simply delays it. This is a difference between resting and escaping. Difference between having a drink and needing a drink. The difference between enjoying a game and playing for 12 straight hours because you cannot tolerate your own thoughts. There is a difference between hardworking and using work to avoid your life. Some people cope through alcohol, drugs, gambling, food, sex, pornography, shopping, overworking, endless scrolling, isolation, anger. None of those behaviors automatically prove someone has an addiction. But it's worse. But is it worth paying attention when a habit becomes difficult to control? Begins damaging relationships, affecting work, creating financial problems, or becoming the way you know how to feel better. Let's face it, alcohol is deeply connected to social life for many men. Celebrating, drink. Bad day, drink. Watching the game, drink. Breakup, drink. Wedding, drink. Funeral, drink. Sometimes the only acceptable place men feel comfortable talking about emotion is after several drinks. Suddenly, at 1:30 in the morning, your friend has his arm around you saying, "Man, I love you, bro. I always believed in you." That is a beautiful moment. But we should be able to tell our friends we care about them before the bottle is empty. According to the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism, about 16.7 million males aged 12 and older met the criteria for alcohol use disorder based on a 2023 national survey data. This institute also reports that the men are more likely than women to report heavy alcohol use. The NIAA, that's 3 A's, describes heavy drinking for men as 5 or more drinks on any day, or 15 or more drinks per week. This is not about judging everybody who drinks. It is about asking honest questions. Can you enjoy yourself without alcohol? Do you drink more than you planned? Have people express concern? Do you hide how much you drink? Do you use alcohol every time you feel anxious, angry, lonely, or even sad? Has it affected your health, your money, your work, or relationships? If those questions make you uncomfortable, that does not automatically mean you have a disorder. But discomfort may be the invitation to take a closer look. Help is always available and recovery is possible. Treatment may include counseling, support programs, and in appropriate cases, medications prescribed by a qualified clinician. But if we work, burnout and the man who never stops, what about him? Let's talk about work. Hard work is valuable, discipline is valuable, providing is valuable. But exhaustion is not a personality. Some men do not know how to rest without feeling guilty. The moment they sit down, their mind says, you should be doing something. They take a vacation and answer work emails from the beach. They spend the entire weekend solving problems for Monday. They are physically at home but mentally still at work. They wonder why they feel disconnected from their family. Burnout can make you clinical, impatient, exhausted, emotionally detached, and less effective. And here's the irony. Some people work nonstop because they believe everything will fall apart without them. But when they finally burn out, everything is forced to continue without them anyway. Leadership does not mean destroy yourself to prove you are committed. But being dependable does not mean being available every second of every day. Rest is not laziness. Recovery is part of performance. Athletes understand this. You cannot train the same muscle nonstop and expect it to grow. Eventually, it gets injured. Your mind is no different. Sleeping is not optional. One of the first things stress attacks is sleep. You lie down, but your brain starts holding a staff meeting at 9 p.m. at night. You're trying to go to bed. Every mistake you've made since 2007 has suddenly been added to the agenda. You remember something embarrassing you said 12 years ago. Now you're lying, thinking there, why did I say that? That person probably does not remember. They may not even remember you. But your brain decided at 2:14 in the morning was the perfect time to review the footage. The CDC recommends that most adults get at least 7 to 8 hours per day. Getting enough sleep can support mood, memory, attention, physical health, and stress management. Research also has found that association between inadequate sleep and frequent mental distress. Sleep will not solve every mental health problem, but a chronically exhausted brain has a harder time handling stress. Practically steps may include keeping a more constant sleep schedule, reducing caffeine later on in the day, putting the phone down before bed, making the room darker and cooler, avoiding alcohol as a sleep aid, talking with a healthcare professional if sleep problems continue. Now let's be honest about the phone. Some of us say, I can't sleep, but I've been watching videos on TikTok for 2 hours with the screen 6 inches from our face. Or watching Netflix. Phone asks, are you still watching? Yes. Unfortunately, we are. I have learned and met a lot of people in my career, and I'm very fortunate to have people in my family who were veterans and first responders. One of them is my hero, who is my brother, who goes out every day. And everybody knows this kind of policing nowadays in 2026 is very different from what my dad and uncle went through in the early 70s and 80s and 90s. But first responders, veterans, and trauma. We've also talked about men working in high-stress professions, the 9-to-5ers, but police officers, firefighters, and emergency medical personnel, military members, correction officers, sometimes even security professionals, healthcare workers. These jobs may expose people to violence, death, serious injury, crisis, and human suffering. As Siri is trying to help. A person can become so used to operating in an emergency mode that they struggle to turn it. Hypervigilance may help you survive at work, but it can make it difficult to relax at home. You may sit at a restaurant facing the door. You may scan every room. You may react strongly to sounds. You may become emotionally numb. You may struggle to explain what you have seen. And sometimes the culture of the job discourages people from seeking. They worry about being judged. They worry about losing respect. They worry about what it could mean for their career. But untreated trauma does not disappear. Because you have a uniform, a badge, a title, or even a rank, the CDC reports that veterans experience a substantially higher suicide rate than non-veteran adults. That statistic deserves our attention. Seeking support is not betrayal of the profession. It is maintenance. The same way equipment gets inspected, the same way emergency plans get reviewed, the same way skills get refreshed. Your mind deserves maintenance too. Now, here are some warning signs we should not ignore. Let's make this practical. A person who needs immediate attention when you notice major changes, such as talking about wanting to die, saying others would be better off without them, giving away important belongings, saying goodbye in unusual ways, suddenly becoming calm after a period of severe distress, withdrawing from nearly everyone, using more alcohol or drugs, behaving recklessly, expressing hopelessness, searching for ways to harm themselves. Do not assume someone is joking. Do not be afraid that asking about suicide will put the idea in their head. Ask directly and calmly. Are you thinking about hurting yourself? Are you thinking about suicide? That question may feel uncomfortable, but awkwardness is better than silence. Listen, without turning the conversation into a lecture, do not say, you have nothing to be pressed about. Other people have it worse. Just be positive. Thinking about your family. Those statements may well be attendant, but they can create more guilt. Try, I'm glad you told me. I'm here for you. You don't have to handle this alone. Let's connect with someone who can help. Are you safe right now? If this risk appears immediate, stay with the person, and when it's safe to do so, reduce access to dangerous items when possible, and contact emergency or crisis support. In the United States, the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline is available 24 hours a day. People can text or chat with 988 for free. It's confidential support. If someone is in immediate physical danger, contact emergency services. We spent a lot of time discussing the problem, and now let's discuss the action. We talk about a lot of it, but I'm going to take a quick break after this, and I want everybody to take this number down and make sure that you really, really have it just in case. It's a number I gave earlier, 988. Text 988 for anybody that needs help. And if you need someone to actually talk to, it is very important that you take the time to talk about it with somebody. Google mental health crisis hotlines. They're there for you for a reason. Let's discuss the action, because awareness without action is just information. The first thing men can do is stop waiting for a crisis before taking mental health seriously. You do not have to wait until you lose everything. You do not have to wait until a relationship is over. You may can save a relationship. You do not have to wait until your job performance falls apart. You do not have to wait until you cannot get out of bed. Early support matters. The NIMH notes that recognizing signs and beginning treatment earlier can improve the chances of effective care. So, step 1, tell the truth. Start by telling yourself the truth. Not the dramatic version, not the tough guy version, the honest version. I am not okay. I'm overwhelmed. I'm drinking too much. I'm angry all the time. I'm lonely. I still haven't processed that loss and I need help. Saying it does not make the problem bigger. It makes the problem visible. You cannot address what you refuse to name. Step 2, talk to somebody. Choose someone trustworthy, a friend, family member, a pastor, a father, clinical support, clergy support from your church, a mentor, a doctor, therapist, counselor, or even group support. You do not have to begin with your entire life story. You can just say, I have been dealing with a lot lately and I need somebody to talk to. That is enough to start. And understand this. The first person may not respond perfectly. People sometimes panic. They may immediately start giving advice, try to fix things. They may say the wrong thing. That does not mean opening up is a mistake. It may mean you need a different person or a trained person. Step 3, take care of the basics. Mental health is complex. You cannot cure every condition by drinking water and taking a walk. Let's not oversimplify serious illness, but basic habits still matter. Sleep, nutrition, movement, sunlight, routine, social connection, medical care, reducing alcohol and drug use, spending time away from the screens. Physical activity can reduce short-term anxiety, improve sleep, and support mood and brain health. This does not mean you have to become a professional bodybuilder. You do not need to post a mirror picture every morning with the caption, different breed. Just move, walk, lift weights, ride a bike, play basketball, cut the grass, dance. Although some of us probably do that private. Find something sustainable. Movement gives stress somewhere to go. Step 4, build a life outside of work. Men need interest, not just jobs, not just responsibilities. Something you do because you enjoy it. Fishing, cooking, woodworking, music, podcasts, photography, sports, cars. Hell, gardening, volunteering, baking, cooking, traveling, reading. A healthy hobby is not childish or not womanish. It just reminds you that you are a person, not only a provider or employee. You need something that gives you a break from performance. Step 5, create real friendships. Call somebody, not only when you need something. Check in, make plans, show up. Ask better questions. Instead of, what's up? Try, how's life been treating you? What's been stressing you lately? How things are at home? What are you looking forward to? What do you need help? And listen. Do not immediately make the conversation about yourself. Do not turn everything into a joke. Humor is powerful. Sometimes humor gets people through terrible situations. But humor should not be the only emotional language you know. Learn to rest without guilt. That's step 6. Scheduling time where you're not solving anything that may feel uncomfortable at first. Your value is not based on constant productivity. Rest does not need to be earned through complete exhaustion. You are allowed to sit down before your body forces you to. Take a day off when you can. Use your vacation time. Step away from the phone. Spend time with the people who make you feel calm. Not every free moment needs to become another side business. I respect the hustle. Believe me, I do. But if you have 12 streams of income and 0 peace, something is on. Step 7, give professional help when needed. Therapy is not one size fits all. One therapist may not be the right fit. One of the treatment may not work for everybody. Finding the right person may take time. You can ask about experience working with men, experience with working with trauma, relationships, anxiety, depression, treatment methods, cost of insurance, virtual appointments, confidentiality, goals for the treatment. How did it make you feel? Therapy is not always somebody asking, how did it make you feel? Sometimes it's practical, but it can help you realize patterns, improve communication, process trauma, challenge distorted and thinking, and develop healthier coping skills. And sometimes medication may be appropriate, but this is medication decision to discuss with a qualified healthcare provider. There is no prize for suffering without support. Now, this one goes for other people. How do you support the men in you? To the women listening, your father, husband, brother, son, partner, or friend may not always know how to explain how he feels. It doesn't mean you must accept emotional unavailability, disrespect, or harmful behavior. Healthy support still includes boundaries, but creating a safe space where men can speak without being mocked may be a major difference to a man. To the men listening, we also have to create the space for each other. We cannot complain that nobody cares about men's mental health while making fun of every man who opens up. We cannot tell men to speak and then call them weak when they do. We cannot demand honesty and punish vulnerability. We have to become safer friends. Now, here's a weekly challenge for everyone listening. This week, contact one man you call him. Do not just send a meme or a TikTok or a reel from Facebook or Instagram. You can send the meme after the conversation. Ask him how you really doing. If he gives you the automatic answer saying, no, seriously, how have you been? Then listen. You do not need to be a therapist. You do not need the perfect words. Sometimes being a present is enough to help someone take the next step. And while you're checking in on everybody else, check on yourself and ask, how have you been sleeping? Are you enjoying anything? Are you more angrier than normal? Are you isolating yourself and using something to escape? Do you feel hopeless at night or any time during the day? When was the last time I had an honest conversation with myself? What support do I need? And answer honestly. I want to take this time to close with this. Men are often taught that strength means carrying pain without showing it. But I think strength is more than endurance. Strength is honesty, accountability, asking for help before the situation becomes a crisis. It's also apologizing, setting boundaries, leaving something or someone unhealthy, staying when something healthy requires work, grieving, changing, and telling another man, I'm not okay. And strength is responding, you don't have to go through this alone. Your pain does not make you feel less of a man. Your diagnosis does not make you feel less of Your mistakes do not mean your life is over. Your job title doesn't determine your worth. Your bank account doesn't determine your worth. Your relationship status. More than what you produce, or what went wrong, more than the worst moment of your life. If you are now in a dark place right now, please do not make a permanent decision based on it. Tell somebody, call somebody, walk into an ER, contact a qualified professional. In the United States, call or text 988 for free, confidential crisis support at any hour. If there is immediate danger, call emergency services. There is no shame in staying alive. There is no shame in getting help. There is no shame in beginning again. To every man listening, take care of your responsibilities and your family. and your body, but do not forget to take care of your mind. Because the people who love you do not only need what you provide, they need you. Alive, present, healthy, growing. And becoming the man you were meant to be, that's just the gift. At the very end is the goal of becoming the man you want and who you are. I am Josh, and this has been the Fellows and Facts episode for us men. Thank you for listening, and make sure you subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Share this episode with anybody who needs it. And remember, real men have real emotions, real men face struggles, and real strength begins when we stop pretending. Until next time, take care of yourself and check on your people.